When did you learn loyalty sometimes comes with a price? I never thought loyalty would become my cage. But when I promised my brother I'd stand by him no matter what, I had no idea how far that vow would drag me into darkness. It started on a cold Friday evening, the kind of night when the city lights blurred in the rain, and everything felt like it was hiding something. I was locking up the diner where I worked when my phone buzzed with a message from Adam. Need you. Don't ask questions. Just come. I didn't hesitate. That was the rule between us. No questions. No judgment. Just loyalty. Adam was my older brother, and after our father walked out when we were kids, he'd become everything: protector, mentor, the guy who always had my back when the world wanted to chew me up. So when he called, I came running. Always. His car was parked 2 blocks down, engine idling under a flickering street lamp. I jumped in, and before I could even close the door, I smelled the coppery tang of blood mixed with sweat and gasoline. Adam's knuckles were raw, split open like he'd punched a wall 100 times. Except it wasn't a wall. There was blood on his shirt, dark stains spreading across the fabric. Drive, he said, shoving the gear stick toward me. His eyes darted around like a hunted animal. Don't ask, just drive. I pressed the gas, heart pounding. The windshield wipers beat out a frantic rhythm, but inside the car the silence was worse. He wouldn't look at me. Finally, I whispered, Adam, what did you do? His jaw clenched. For a moment, I thought he wouldn't answer. Then, in a voice that barely belonged to my brother, he said, it was supposed to be simple. Just a message, just a warning. But he didn't back down. He didn't have to say who. I knew Adam had been working with men I'd only seen from a distance, guys in sharp suits with colder eyes than winter. He called it side work, said it was just running errands, collecting money. But deep down I'd always feared it was more. That night, I got my answer. We drove in circles for what felt like hours before Adam finally directed me to an abandoned lot near the river. The rain had stopped, but the air was heavy with that damp metallic smell that clings to places where bad things happen. He told me to pop the trunk. I didn't want to. Every nerve in my body screamed not to. But my hand moved anyway. The trunk creaked open. And there he was. A man, maybe late 30s, tied up, gagged, his face swollen from a beating. His eyes shot straight to mine, wide, desperate, pleading. I stumbled back, my stomach lurching. Adam, Jesus Christ, what? Shut up, Adam snapped, his voice cracking in a way I'd never heard before. You think I wanted this? You think I had a choice? They were gonna come after me, after us. He grabbed my shoulders, shaking me hard enough that my teeth rattled. I need you with me, little brother. Right now, we clean this up together, or we both go down. You understand? My throat closed. That man's muffled cries clawed at my ears. I wanted to run, to call the police, to pretend I'd never opened that trunk. But Adam's grip was iron. His eyes weren't just begging, they were warning. Blood was thicker than water, loyalty stronger than fear. At least, that's what I told myself when I nodded. Adam smiled, but it wasn't the smile I grew up with. It was colder, harder. That's my brother, he whispered. We hauled the man out of the trunk. His body sagged between us, too weak to resist. Every step toward the river felt like sinking into quicksand. My hands shook as I held onto his arm, his skin slick with sweat and blood. When we reached the edge of the water, Adam pulled a length of chain from the back seat. He wrapped it around the man's legs with practiced efficiency. Too practiced. That's when it hit me this wasn't his first time. The man's eyes locked on mine again, and for a split second, I thought I saw forgiveness there. Or maybe it was just resignation. Adam whispered in my ear, on 3, together. My stomach twisted, my knees nearly buckled. But when he counted down, I moved with him. We pushed the man into the black water, the splash echoing like a gunshot. His muffled screams were swallowed by the current, then silence. I stood frozen, drenched in rain and sweat, staring at the ripples until they disappeared. My brother clapped a bloody hand on my back. You did good, he said softly. You're one of us now. But in that moment, I knew something had shattered. I wasn't the same person who'd locked up the diner an hour ago. I'd crossed a line I could never uncross. And Adam had dragged me there. The sound of sirens in the distance snapped me back. Adam's eyes widened, and for the first time all night, I saw fear in him. They know, he whispered. I turned toward him, rain dripping from my lashes, my heart hammering like a trapped animal. What do you mean? They know? Adam's face went pale. He opened his mouth to answer, but headlights flooded the lot, blinding us. The beam spinned us like deer caught on a midnight road. Adam cursed under his breath, grabbing my arm so hard it burnt. Don't move, he hissed. The headlights cut out, leaving us blinking into sudden darkness. A car door opened with a heavy metallic groan. Then another. Boots crunched on gravel. Whoever they were, there was more than one. My throat went dry. I whispered, cops. Adam shook his head once, sharp and certain. Not cops. A man's voice cut through the night, smooth, calm, terrifying in its casualness. Adam, you're late. My brother stiffened, his grip tightening on me like I was the only thing anchoring him. I handled it, he called out, trying to sound steady. It's done. Is it? The voice came closer, each step deliberate. A shadow detached from the darkness, a tall man in a black coat, his face barely visible under the lot's single street lamp. Another figure trailed behind him, silent, carrying something that glinted silver. I could feel my pulse in my ears. The man in the coat stopped a few feet away. He looked at me first, not Adam. His eyes were pale, almost colorless, and colder than the river behind us. And this must be the little brother, he said, almost fondly. Adam's insurance policy. I wanted to speak, to tell him I had nothing to do with this, but my tongue felt like lead. Adam stepped in front of me, shoulders squared. He's not part of this, Adam said quickly. He just drove, that's it. The man smiled, and it was worse than a snarl. That's the thing about loyalty. Once you're in, no halfway. The silent figure stepped forward, and the silver glint became clear, a crowbar, streaked with rust. My stomach lurched. The man in the coat turned back to Adam. We had an arrangement. You don't make me wait. You don't make mistakes. Tonight you did both. Adam's jaw clenched, but his voice stayed calm. I fixed it. The body's gone. No one will ever. Bodies float, the man interrupted. Secrets rise. You should know better. The crowbar man shifted closer, and I took a step back, my shoes sinking into mud near the riverbank. Adam's hand shot out, steadying me. Please, I croaked, finally finding my voice. I didn't. The man's gaze snapped to me again, and I shut up instantly. His stare felt like a blade pressing against my skin. You didn't, he repeated softly, almost kindly. Then his expression hardened. But you will. That's how this works. The air was heavy, pressing down on me, choking me. I wanted to run, but my legs wouldn't obey. Adam stood taller, defiant. He's just a kid, he said. I hated him for that. I wasn't a kid. Not anymore. Not after what I'd done tonight. The man in the coat leaned closer to Adam, their faces inches apart. Then maybe he'll learn faster. He flicked his fingers, and the crowbar man moved like a shadow. Before I could react, the iron bar was in front of me, the tip pressing lightly against my chest. My breath caught. I could see my reflection in its slick surface, pale and wide-eyed. Loyalty, the man murmured, isn't free. It costs blood. Sometimes yours, sometimes theirs. He tilted his head toward Adam. Which will it be tonight, Adam snapped. He shoved me aside, lunging at the crowbar man. They crashed onto the gravel, fists flying, grunts echoing in the empty lot. The crowbar clattered away, spinning toward the street lamp. I scrambled, my hands shaking as I grabbed it. It was heavier than I expected, cold and slick in my grip. I turned, breathing hard, and froze. The man in the coat was right there, inches away, watching me. He didn't flinch, didn't move, just studied me like I was some puzzle he already knew the answer to. Go on, he said softly, prove you belong. Adam shouted my name, pinned beneath the other man's weight, blood on his face. My brother, the one who raised me, who dragged me into this nightmare, who'd told me loyalty meant never asking questions. The crowbar felt alive in my hands. My heart thundered so loud I thought it would burst. And for the first time in my life, I didn't know if loyalty meant saving Adam, or walking away. I lifted the crowbar. The man in the coat smiled. And headlights appeared again, this time, red and blue. Police. The man's smile vanished. Adam screamed, run. The flashing lights painted the lot in stuttering red and blue. Sirens howled closer, bouncing off the river, drilling into my skull. For a second, nobody moved. Then chaos exploded. The man in the coat hissed something sharp and guttural, a command I couldn't catch. His partner bolted for their car, dragging Adam with him like a rag doll. Adam fought, thrashing, yelling my name, but a fist to his ribs silenced him. I staggered forward, crowbar still in my hands, but the man in the coat blocked my path. He leaned in so close I could smell his cologne, sharp, chemical, wrong. Not tonight, he whispered, but soon. Then he was gone, melting into the shadows with his partner and my brother, their car's tires spitting gravel as they vanished into the dark. I stood alone in the rain-slick lot, clutching the crowbar like it could anchor me. My chest heaved, my thoughts spun. Then the police car screeched in, spotlight blinding me. Hands where we can see them, a voice barked. I dropped the crowbar instantly, raising trembling hands. Gravel cut into my knees as they forced me down, cold cuffs snapping around my wrists. Wait, no, you don't understand. My voice cracked. They took my brother. The officers didn't care. They searched me, shoved me into the back seat, questions flying like bullets. What's your name? Who else is here? Why is there blood on your shirt? I tried to explain, but the words tangled, spilling out in broken pieces. My brother Adam, he's in trouble, they made me please. You have to. The older cop in the driver's seat just sighed, like he'd heard it all before. Another junkie brawl by the river. Kid, you're lucky we don't charge you right now. I slammed my cuffed fists against the partition. No, you don't get it. They took him. He's... Enough. The officer's voice cracked like a whip. You want to help your brother? Start talking straight. But how could I? How do you tell a story that sounds like madness? That your brother owed money to men with dead eyes and colder smiles? That you'd just helped drown a man in the river? That the devil himself had leaned in and promised to come back for you? If I told them everything, Adam was done. He'd rot in prison or worse. And despite everything, despite the blood, the lies, the fear, he was still my brother. So I stayed silent. At the station, they processed me, Asked again and again about the blood. I told them it wasn't mine. I told them I didn't know whose it was. That part was true. Hours crawled by. Finally, they let me go with a warning, dumping me back on the street just as dawn broke. My clothes were still damp, my body aching, my mind shredded. I should have gone home. I should have crawled into bed and prayed it was all a nightmare. But I couldn't. Adam was out there, and the silence between my ears was filled with his voice. You're one of us now. I wandered until my feet took me to the only place that felt safe, the diner. The neon sign buzzed weakly as I unlocked the door and slipped inside. The smell of stale coffee and grease wrapped around me like a blanket. But I wasn't alone. She was there. A woman, maybe early 30s, sitting in the last booth with a half-empty cup of coffee. Black hair slicked back, leather jacket draped over the seat. She looked up as I froze in the doorway. You're late, she said. My blood ran cold. I stammered. Who are you? She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. A friend of Adam's. Call me Mara. She gestured to the seat across from her. Sit. We need to talk. Every instinct screamed to run, but my legs carried me to the booth, my hands trembling as I slid into the seat. Mara leaned forward, her voice low. The man you met last night. You don't forget eyes like his. They call him Calder. He doesn't let debts go, and Adam owes more than money. My throat tightened. Then help me find him. She chuckled darkly. That's cute. You think you can save him? I have to. I snapped, louder than I meant. My voice cracked. He's my brother. Her smile faded. For a moment, something softer flickered in her eyes. Loyalty's a dangerous thing. It makes you bleed for people who'd never do the same for you. I clenched my fists under the table. He would. Adam, he's all I have. Mara studied me like she could peel back my skin and read the truth in my bones. Then she slid a scrap of paper across the table. Warehouse on 5th. Midnight. That's where Calder takes what's his. She leaned back, her voice dropping to a whisper. But if you go, you won't come back the same. If you come back at all. My heart hammered. Midnight. 5th Street. Adam. I stuffed the paper into my pocket, stood on shaky legs, and headed for the door. Mara's voice followed me out, soft and chilling. Loyalty always has a price. Hope you're ready to pay it. I didn't look back, but her words stuck to me like tar. The hours crawled like days. Every clock tick sounded like a hammer against my skull. I couldn't eat, couldn't sit still. My mind replayed the river again and again, the man's eyes, the splash, Adam's scream as Calder's men dragged him away. By 10 that night, I was pacing the tiny apartment like a caged animal. Mara's words kept gnawing at me. If you go, you won't come back the same. But what was the alternative? Leave Adam to Calder's mercy? Pretend last night never happened? No, blood didn't allow that. Loyalty didn't allow that. I grabbed my jacket, stuffed a crowbar into a duffel bag, and walked out into the night. The warehouse on 5th looked dead from the outside, rusted doors, busted windows, graffiti scrawled across crumbling brick. But as I crept closer, I saw the glow of a single light seeping through a high window. Voices floated down, muffled but sharp. I slipped inside through a side door, the hinges groaning like they wanted to betray me. The air was thick with oil and dust, every breath tasting of rust and old secrets. In the center of the warehouse, under a hanging bulb, was Adam. He was tied to a chair, face swollen, one eye nearly shut. His shirt was torn, soaked in blood and sweat. He looked up when he heard me, and even through the pain, his eyes widened. Kid, no. What the hell are you doing here? His voice was hoarse, ragged. Before I could answer, another voice echoed from the shadows, calm, mocking. I was hoping you'd come. Calder stepped into the light, immaculate in that same black coat, not a hair out of place. Behind him, 2 men lingered like shadows, one with a pistol tucked casually at his hip. He studied me with that same unnerving calm. You surprised me last night. Most would have run, but here you are, back for more. I forced my voice steady. Let him go. Calder chuckled, low and cold. Ah, loyalty. Such a pretty word. Such an ugly cost. He paced slowly around Adam's chair, dragging his fingertips across the backrest like a predator savoring its prey. Do you even know what your brother did? Adam shook his head violently, blood spraying his lips. Don't. But Calder ignored him. His eyes never left mine. Your brother stole from me. Money, yes, but worse than that. He stole trust, lied, promised more than he could deliver. And in my business, betrayal. He crouched so he was eye level with Adam, smiling faintly. Betrayal is death. Adam spat blood on the floor, his voice a snarl. I did what I had to. You don't own me. Calder's smile never faltered. He stood, wiped his hands with a pristine white handkerchief. So, what do you think, little brother? Should loyalty save him, or bury him? My stomach twisted. He's my brother. Calder tilted his head. And that means what exactly? That you'll bleed for him? That you'll kill for him? He stepped closer, his pale eyes locking on mine. Because that's the only way he walks out of here. Someone pays. Either him, or you. The gunman behind him shifted, the metallic click of a safety released filling the silence. I swallowed hard, heart hammering. The crowbar weighed heavy in my bag at my feet. My hands itched toward it. Choose, Calder whispered. Adam shook his head desperately. Don't you dare, kid. Don't you put your hands on this. You hear me? But Calder leaned in, his breath cold on my face. Your brother's time is up, unless you make it yours. The room spun. The air grew razor thin. My loyalty screamed at me, pulling me in two directions at once. Save Adam. Save myself. Both paths led to ruin. And then, without warning, Calder dropped the handkerchief onto my chest. I looked down. It was stained with Adam's blood. A gift, Calder murmured, to remember tonight by, no matter what you choose. The blood spread like fire across the white cloth. My brother's blood. My hands shook as I clutched it. Adam's voice broke, raw and desperate. Don't do it, kid. Please. Don't you sell your soul for me. But Calder's eyes gleamed, patient, hungry. I knew then that whatever choice I made, something inside me was about to die. The handkerchief burned in my fist, the blood seeping through the fabric, sticky against my palm. Calder's words echoed in my head like a drumbeat. Either him, or you. Adam thrashed weakly against the ropes, his voice ragged. Don't you listen to him. Don't you dare. Calder's men stood like statues, ice cold, waiting for his signal. The gunman's finger hovered just above the trigger. My breath came in short, jagged bursts. My heart wasn't pounding anymore, it was slamming, battering against my ribs like it wanted out. I thought of every moment Adam had been there for me. When I was 10 and broke my arm, he carried me 5 blocks through the air. When our father disappeared, Adam swore we didn't need him, that we had each other. He taught me how to fight, how to lie when we had no money, how to keep moving even when life wanted to grind us down. But I also thought of last night. The trunk, the river, the man's pleading eyes as the chain dragged him under, the way Adam's grip forced me to move, to push, to drown. Loyalty, love, chains. My voice cracked. I could barely hear myself. I can't. Adam's head snapped up. His good eye locked on mine. Relief flickered there, mixed with sorrow. That's my kid brother, he rasped. Don't let him own you. Calder's expression didn't change, but something in his eyes hardened. He gave the smallest nod to the gunman. The barrel lifted toward Adam's head. No! I screamed. Instinct exploded before thought could catch up. My hand dove into the duffel bag, yanked out the crowbar, and swung. The sound was sickening metal on bone. The gunman crumpled, the pistol clattering to the floor. Everything fractured at once. Adam roared, yanking against the ropes like a wild animal. Calder lunged, his coat swirling like wings, a knife flashing from his sleeve. The second man rushed me, fists pounding, but adrenaline made me reckless, unstoppable. The crowbar connected again, my arms burning, my vision a tunnel of rage. The warehouse erupted into chaos. Shouts, grunts, the clang of metal, the scrape of chairs. Blood sprayed across concrete. The hanging bulb swung wildly, shadows dancing like devils on the walls. Then silence. I stood gasping, chest heaving, crowbar slick in my grip. One man lay groaning on the floor. The other wasn't moving. Adam slumped forward in the chair, ropes frayed where he'd fought them raw. But Calder was gone. The side door banged against the wall, swinging in the night wind. His voice echoed from the darkness outside, calm as ever. This isn't finished. And then he was gone. I dropped the crowbar with a clatter and rushed to Adam, tearing at the ropes until they snapped. He collapsed into my arms, bloodied, broken, but alive. Kid. His voice was barely there. You shouldn't have come. Shut up, I muttered, holding him tighter. My hands trembled. My whole body trembled. I'm not leaving you. Sirens wailed in the distance again, louder this time, closer. We staggered to our feet, leaning on each other like wounded animals. Every step hurt, but the thought of blue and red lights flooding the warehouse sent us stumbling faster toward the back exit. Outside, the night air was cold, almost clean compared to the metallic stink inside. But I knew it wouldn't wash away what I'd done. Adam coughed, spitting blood onto the pavement. You saved me. I shook my head. My voice cracked. No, I damned us both. He tried to laugh, but it came out broken, wet. Welcome to the family business. I wanted to scream at him, to hit him, to demand why he dragged me into this hell. But there was no time. The sirens were too close. The city was waking. We stumbled down an alley, disappearing into the maze of shadows, leaving behind blood, bodies, and the promise of Calder's return. And as we vanished into the night, I realized something terrifying. It wasn't just Adam's life Calder wanted. It was mine. We didn't stop running until the city swallowed us whole. By the time we collapsed in an abandoned lot near the rail tracks, dawn was bleeding into the horizon. Adam leaned against a rusted dumpster, his face pale beneath the bruises, his chest heaving like every breath cost him something. I tore a strip from my shirt to wipe the blood from his temple. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. The crowbar was still in my bag, heavier than any weight I'd ever carried. Adam tried to grin, but it twisted into a grimace. Not bad, kid. You swing that thing like you mean it. Don't, I muttered, shoving the cloth harder against his wound. Don't joke. We almost died. He coughed, spat red onto the dirt. We'll be fine. Always are. I wanted to believe him, but Calder's words clung to me. Loyalty isn't free. It costs blood. I'd paid in blood now, and the debt wasn't settled. Adam, I whispered, voice cracking. Why didn't you tell me? About Calder, about all of it. His good eye met mine. For once, there was no bravado, no shield, just raw honesty. Because if I told you, you'd never have followed me, and I needed you. He swallowed, wincing. You're all I've got. The confession should have made me feel closer to him. Instead, it hollowed me out. Because I realized something. Adam didn't protect me from Calder's world. He pulled me into it. Because he couldn't face it alone. A low rumble vibrated through the ground engines. I froze listening. Two black SUVs rolled slowly past the alley mouth, tinted windows catching the weak sunlight. Adam's jaw clenched. Calder's dogs. He's already hunting. Panic rose sharp in my throat. We need to go to the cops. Tell them everything. Adam laughed bitterly, then groaned at the pain it caused. And say what? That we drowned a guy in the river? That Calder runs half the city? You think the cops don't know? They probably drink with him on Friday nights. My stomach twisted. He wasn't wrong. The SUVs vanished, but the dread stayed. Calder didn't bluff. He'd be back. And next time, he wouldn't leave loose ends. We hid the rest of the day in a crumbling motel on the edge of town. The sheets smelled of mildew. The lock barely worked, but it was four walls and a door between us and Calder. Adam slept in fits, mumbling, sweating. I sat in the chair by the window, crowbar across my lap like a soldier with a rifle, watching every car that passed. By nightfall, paranoia chewed at me. Every creak of the building sounded like footsteps. Every headlight made my heart lurch. At midnight, a knock rattled the door. 3 sharp taps. Adam bolted upright, eyes wide. Don't answer. But the voice that followed froze my blood. It's Mara. Open up. I hesitated. Crowbar raised. Prove it, I demanded. Through the thin wood, her voice lowered. You still owe me coffee. It was her. I unlatched the door, and Mara slipped inside, shutting it fast behind her. Her jacket was wet from rain, her eyes hard. You idiots, she hissed. You think Calder doesn't know where you are? He owns this place. He lets you breathe because he likes the game. Adam pushed himself up, swaying. Then what the hell are you doing here? Mara's gaze flicked to me, sharp and unreadable. Because I don't like watching kids get slaughtered for someone else's debt. Her words hit me harder than I expected. She wasn't looking at Adam. She was looking at me. What do you mean? I asked, voice tight. She crouched beside the bed, lowering her voice. Calder doesn't want him anymore. She nodded at Adam. Too much trouble. Too much noise. But you're clean, fresh, loyal. You're the prize. The room tilted. My mouth went dry. No. Yes, she said, steady. He'll break you in ways your brother never could. He'll make you his, unless you get out now. Adam's face hardened. You're lying. Trying to split us. Mara straightened, crossing her arms. Believe me or not, but Calder doesn't forget. And he doesn't forgive. If you stay chained to him, she jabbed a finger at Adam, you'll drown too. The silence that followed was suffocating. Adam glared at her. I stared at the floor. Mara moved to the door, pausing with her hand on the knob. I can get you out. Both of you. If you're smart. But you need to decide. Then she was gone, leaving the mildew-stinking room colder than before. Adam turned to me, his voice low, desperate. Kid, don't listen to her. You and me, we're blood. We don't walk away. Ever. But Mara's words burrowed deeper. He'll make you his. And for the first time, I wondered if loyalty wasn't saving us, but killing me. I didn't sleep. Couldn't. Mara's words ran circles in my head, gnawing at the thin threads that still tied me to Adam. By morning, the motel room felt like a coffin. The smell of mildew and blood pressed against my lungs. Adam was still out cold, his breathing uneven, his skin slick with sweat. I sat by the window with the crowbar across my lap, watching rain streak the glass, waiting for Calder's shadows to appear. But it wasn't Calder who came. It was Mara. She walked in like she owned the place, tossing a paper bag of food onto the table. The scent of greasy eggs and burnt toast filled the room. Eat, she ordered. I didn't move. My grip on the crowbar tightened. Why are you helping us? Her eyes flicked to Adam, then back to me. I'm not helping him. I'm helping you. Adam stirred, groaning, trying to sit up. Don't listen to her. She's poison. Mara crouched beside him, her voice sharp enough to cut steel. You already poisoned him, dragged him into Calder's pit. He deserves a chance to crawl out. Adam spat blood onto the floor, glaring. And you're his savior. Don't make me laugh. Mara's jaw tightened, but she didn't look away. I know what Calder does to loyal men. I've seen it. You don't want your brother to end up like the others. Her tone made me shiver. The others? She stood, pacing. Calder doesn't just punish betrayal. He rewires people, turns them into weapons. He'll strip away everything you are until the only thing left is obedience. That's what he's grooming you for. I swallowed hard, my throat raw. And Adam? She stopped pacing. Her silence was the answer. Adam forced a broken laugh. See? She wants you scared. Wants you to turn on me. His good eye locked onto mine. Don't forget who carried you when Dad left. Who fought off those kids when they jumped you outside school. Who made sure you ate when Mom couldn't keep the lights on. Don't you dare forget. The memories slammed into me, warm and brutal. Adam carrying me home, my arm broken. Adam giving me his last slice of bread. Adam swearing we only needed each other. But then came the darker memories. Adam pushing me toward the trunk. Adam's hand forcing mine onto the chain at the river. Adam whispering, you're one of us now. Mara stepped closer, her eyes burning into mine. He's using you. He'll keep using you until Calder decides you're worth more alone than together. And when that day comes, Adam won't save you. He'll hand you over. The room buzzed with silence. My chest felt like it was caving in. Adam's voice cracked, softer now. Kid, please, don't leave me. You're all I got. It should have been enough, but his words felt more like shackles than love. A knock shattered the moment. Heavy. 3 slow raps against the door. Adam's face drained of color. That's him. Mara drew a pistol from inside her jacket, sleek and black. We need to move. Now. The knock came again, harder. The door shuddered in its frame. Adam staggered up, clutching the wall. I can fight. Mara's mouth twisted. No. You'll slow us down. He wants you. He wants him more. She nodded at me. My stomach flipped. What do you mean? The door rattled, hinges squealing. Calder's voice seeped through, calm, steady, venom wrapped in velvet. Open the door, little brother. It's time to come home. Every hair on my body stood on end. Mara raised her gun. Adam raised his fists. And my hand went to the crowbar, heart splitting in two. Because I knew this moment was the price. And Calder had come to collect. The door shuddered again. Harder this time. Wood cracked. Dust rained from the ceiling. Calder's voice floated through like smoke. Don't make me break it. That would be unpleasant. My chest caved with every syllable. Adam leaned against the wall, his fists clenched though his body shook. Mara crouched low by the bed, pistol trained on the door, her breath steady, her eyes locked like a predator. And me, I was frozen, crowbar slick in my hands, every muscle screaming to run. But where? The lock gave. The door slammed open. Calder stepped inside like he owned the air, his black coat dripping rain. Behind him, 2 more men moved in, rifles gleaming under the dim motel light. Adam lunged first, reckless, swinging wild. Calder didn't even flinch. One of his men smashed Adam in the stomach with the rifle butt, folding him like paper. He crumpled to the floor, wheezing. Stop, I shouted, raising the crowbar. My arms trembled. Stay away from him. Calder's pale eyes found me calm, endless. He smiled faintly, as if I were a child holding a toy. There he is, he murmured. The loyal one. Mara fired. The gunshot tore through the room, deafening. One of Calder's men spun, clutching his shoulder, blood blooming through his jacket. The other swung his rifle toward her, and chaos exploded. The room filled with noise, shouts, gunfire, the crash of furniture. Mara ducked behind the dresser, firing again. The rifle barked, splinters flying. I dropped to my knees beside Adam. He was coughing, blood on his lips, his good eye barely open. Go, he rasped. Kid, run. I shook my head violently. I'm not leaving you. Another shot. The mirror above the sink shattered, raining glass. Mara shouted, move, kid, get him out. But Calder stood still in the chaos, untouched, his gaze fixed on me. His voice cut through the storm like a blade. You think this is about him? It's about you. You've already proven you'll bleed for him. The next step is simple. His lips curved, soft and terrible. Bleed for me instead. My skin crawled. Never. His eyes gleamed. You already belong to me. You just don't know it yet. Mara screamed. Don't listen, get out. She rolled, firing again. The bullet caught the second man's leg, sending him crashing into the dresser. Calder moved suddenly, impossibly fast, crossing the room into strides. His hand clamped on my wrist, icy and unyielding. The crowbar clattered from my grip. Look at him, he hissed, dragging my gaze to Adam, crumpled and bleeding on the floor. Does this look like strength? Does this look like someone worth saving? Adam's weak eyes met mine. Pain and apology tangled there. Kid, he whispered, don't. Calder's breath ghosted against my ear. He'll drag you under. He already has. Choose me, and I'll make you untouchable. For a heartbeat, I almost believed him. The calm, the certainty, the promise of an end to this nightmare. But then I saw Adam's trembling hand reaching for mine, fingers bloodied but still reaching. My heart split wide open. With every ounce of strength left, I ripped my wrist free, grabbed the crowbar from the floor, and swung. It connected with Calder's ribs. The crack echoed like thunder. He staggered back, more shocked than hurt, his eyes burning with fury. Mara seized the moment, firing point blank. The shot ripped through his shoulder, spinning him into the wall. He hissed but didn't fall. Run! Mara shouted. I heaved Adam onto my shoulder, my body screaming with the weight. We stumbled past Calder, his pale eyes locking onto mine, full of a promise worse than any threat. This isn't over, he growled, blood seeping through his coat. You'll come back to me. They always do. We tore out into the rain, sirens wailing somewhere in the distance. Mara covered us, her gun barking behind, shouts echoing from Calder's man. The night swallowed us whole. And as we vanished into the storm, I knew Calder was right about one thing. This wasn't over. The rain hammered us as we stumbled through the back alley, Adam draped over my shoulders like dead weight. Every step was agony, his blood soaking into my clothes, the crowbar clanking against my leg. Mara led the way, moving fast but precise, checking corners, scanning rooftops like she'd done this 1,000 times. We ducked into an abandoned laundromat 2 blocks away. The machines were rusted shells, windows busted out, graffiti screaming from the walls. Mara slammed the door shut behind us, sliding an iron bar across it. For now, it was shelter. Adam groaned, half conscious. I lowered him gently onto a pile of old rags in the corner. His skin was gray, lips cracked, breath shallow. He needs a hospital, I said, panic rising in my chest. He's dying. Mara shook her head sharply. Hospitals are Calder's playground. You walk into one, he'll have men waiting in the lobby. She crouched beside Adam, checking his pulse, her jaw tight. We patch him up here. He lives or he doesn't. Her bluntness hit me like a slap. You don't even care if he makes it. Her eyes flicked up to mine, sharp and unflinching. I care about you. He's the anchor around your neck. My throat closed. He's my brother. Mara's voice softened, almost pitying. And that's exactly why Calder wants you. Because loyalty blinds you. He'll use Adam until there's nothing left, and then he'll turn you into something worse. I looked down at Adam, barely hanging on, his chest rising in shallow, painful gasps. The man who once carried me on his back when I broke my arm, who taught me how to throw a punch, who swore we only needed each other. He was also the man who pushed me toward the river, who shackled me with blood-soaked promises I couldn't escape. Mara pressed gauze to Adam's wound, her hand steady. He's circling you like a shark. Calder doesn't quit. You know that now. The weight of her words sank deep. She was right. Calder wouldn't stop. Not until I was his. I whispered, what do we do? Mara finally looked at me, her eyes hard but burning with something fierce. We kill him. The laundromat seemed to fall silent, like even the rain outside froze at her words. Adam stirred weakly, his voice hoarse. Don't, kid, don't listen. Calder's untouchable. Mara didn't look at him. Her eyes stayed locked on mine. That's what everyone thinks. That's why he still breathes. But he's flesh and blood, and he bleeds like the rest. I shook my head, heart slamming. I'm not a killer. She leaned closer, her whisper a knife against my ear. You already are. The river, the man in the trunk, the chain dragging him under. My stomach turned. Mara's hand pressed against mine, firm, grounding. You think this ends with hiding in filthy rooms, running forever? It ends when Calder does. Adam coughed violently, blood spattering his chin. His good eye opened, wild, desperate. Kid, don't you dare. You hear me? Don't you let her turn you into a murderer. Tears blurred my vision. And what am I now, Adam? What did you make me? The silence that followed was heavier than the storm outside. Adam's gaze dropped. He had no answer. Mara squeezed my hand once, then let go. Decide, stay chained to him, or cut the rope and fight back. The weight of the choice pressed down until I could barely breathe. I stood between them, my brother bleeding out on one side, Mara's pistol gleaming in the dim light on the other. And outside, I could almost feel Calder's eyes, waiting, watching, smiling. Because no matter what I chose, he knew loyalty would be the thing that broke me. The storm raged outside, but the real thunder was inside me. Mara's words, Adam's pleas, Calder's pale eyes all colliding until my skull felt ready to split. Adam wheezed, coughing up blood. His good hand clutched at my wrist with surprising strength. Kid, don't let her twist you. Don't let him twist you. You're better than me. I stared at him, heart ripping open. He was right, he had dragged me into this. But I had followed. I'd chained myself with loyalty, even when it cut me raw. Mara stood steady, pistol lowered but ready, her gaze sharp. This is your crossroads. You keep running. Calder will own you by the week's end. You kill him. You buy yourself a life. Her words were fire. Adam's voice was water. And me? I was drowning between them. I can't. My voice cracked, shaking. I can't kill him. Mara's jaw tightened. Then he'll kill you. Adam groaned, his eyes fluttering. Don't. Listen, please. His grip slipped from my wrist, his body sagging against the rags. For a heartbeat, I thought he was gone. Mara, I whispered, panic surging. He's not breathing right. He needs help. She shook her head. We don't have time. Then make time. My voice broke like glass. If loyalty is killing me, then let it. I'm not letting him die like this. I dropped to my knees, pressing my hands against his chest, forcing air into his lungs the way I remembered from a CPR class years ago. Come on, Adam. Breathe. Don't leave me. 1 second. 2, 3. Then a gasp. Ragged, but real. His chest rose again. My own breath tore out in relief, my tears hot on my face. Mara cursed under her breath, pacing. You're throwing your life away. I looked at her through the blur, voice hoarse but steady. Maybe, but at least it's still mine. Silence. Heavy. Final. Mara slid her pistol back into her jacket, eyes hard with disappointment and something like respect. Then you'd better disappear. Calder won't stop. He'll hunt you both until one of you's in the ground. She moved to the door, hand on the bar. Before leaving, she glanced back. Loyalty saved him tonight. It'll kill you tomorrow. Remember that. Then she was gone, swallowed by the storm. I turned back to Adam. His eyes fluttered open, barely conscious, but alive. His lips parted, words faint but clear. Kid, I'm sorry. The apology broke me more than any threat Calder ever made. I pressed my forehead against his, holding on like the world was collapsing. And maybe it was, because I knew Mara was right. Calder would come. He'd never stop. But for tonight, just tonight, Adam was still breathing. And I would pay the price of loyalty as many times as it took. Even if, in the end, that price was me. That was the night I learned loyalty doesn't just bind you. It bleeds you. And once you've spilled enough, you never get yourself back.